Hi, everybody. For our viewers on Facebook, and we have viewers on YouTube, we're just going to wait for people to log in. So far, we've only got 0 people, but today we are connected with Tohunga Priest and an expert on spirituality. He's a friend of ours, and he's from New Zealand, or there's a traditional name. I'll let him do the pronunciations because he's obviously much better at it than I am. But my name's Laura Cook, and we're watching the Way Clinic Collective. We are supporting ancient medicines, cultural medicines from all over the world, and using them to just expand and create wellness and find wellness in our communities. Tom and I are going to be launching, well, we have launched a course in September. June 5th there's a cutoff date for funding on June 5th for community members that have status, BC First Nations status. Our course is all online on Zoom. So if you are interested in applying for the funding, please just let us know. Send me your registration through www.wayclinic.com, and you can register for our course that's coming up in September. It'll be and there's information there. We're just building it, so it's kind of raw, but yeah, that's a way that we're kind of keeping connected to our community members at this time. We can't come to the communities, so this is a great way for us to connect to you and to bring this medicine worker from New Zealand to everyone, and we're so excited to share his knowledge and see what he has to say. Hey, who do we have here? Who's our commenters? We've got Crystal, we've got Nola, we've got some different people coming in. Great, you guys say hi. Hi, iksduqwia. It's great. Okay, so I'm going to bring in Billy. Where is he? If I figure this system out here. Oh, there we go.
Good morning.
I'm not much of a techie, but hi, how are you?
Hello.
Okay, I want you to introduce yourself because I am still trying to figure out how to pronounce your name properly.
Well, my full name is Piriwiri Toa Tuhoua Muhi Takate Ua is the full name. They called me Billy because we had 2 birth certificates when I was born. One we had a Maori birth certificate and one we had a European. So a lot of our people had to have a European birth certificate, and we and because Piri sounded a bit like Billy, they called me Billy Tuhoua. Kia ora.
Awesome. I'm just trying to still. Oh, there we go.
That's
so we connected because of Mihi Range. She's a student of yours or your mentor. Is that what the relationship is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of our community members in iksduqwia know Mihi, and so everyone's kind of aware of the connection of the Maori medicines and the coastal peoples, right? Their ancestors across the oceans. There's actually a YouTube documentary called Cousins Across the Sea, isn't it? Do you know that one?
Yeah. No, but I'll have a look at that one. No, I don't. Never seen Cousins Across the Sea. We are all related anyway. See, what I teach is an ancient religion, which has been amongst our people for about thousands and thousands of years, which my grandfather practiced when I was a child. He trained me as a Maori priest. A tohunga, or ngā tohu, means someone that works out the signs. Tohu's the sign. And someone that interprets the signs and the messages of Eo, who we call the Creator, God. So prior to the colonial invasion that we had as a people, we actually had a creator ourselves, which then the church eventually took over. So that's what we're teaching. And I met Mihi. She's lovely. It was a lovely meeting. She came to one of our groups while I was training our Maori priests. I belong to a secret order. It's very rarely even in our own country, this is the first time I've actually spoken live. A lot of times people know, so a lot of times people know me by reputation. My reputation's about Maori medicine, where there's a lot of myths around me about how people get miraculously healed and all those sort of things. It was when he's asked me, I said yes, and I wanted to myself, why are you saying yes? Because normally just because our branch of priesthood is we're the type of people that do God's work so only God can see us, and we'll go and be guided to do God's work to whoever God leads to us. You know, no fuss, no bother, just efficient. So I was thinking about it the other night, and one of the people from our Ropu, that's our group, they said, did you know they've got a ruru, an owl, on their page? The owl has got much significance to us, especially my tribe, because the owl to us is a guardian. It is a kaitiaki. It's displays a whole lot of spiritual power and love and all sorts of things. So I started smiling and I thought to myself, I see. These things are part of our journey, are meant to be. Isn't that lovely? So here I am.
Here our owls are meeting.
I know the owls are meeting, which is cool.
I some of our bands, so we have a lot of different Indigenous bands across BC. There's 200 in British Columbia, and the owl in some of them is more ominous, and some communities I've been told, the owl to us means that there's death coming, and then in some communities it's a powerful part of their belief system as well. And for me, I just had so much owls just showing up in my world that I was asking, well, what kind of an image do I have? What kind of a logo should I have? And it felt like the owl was important. So that's kind of the significance of it. I see the owl kind of as he sees in the dark, right? He sees into the consciousness. He sees into our stories. So I really liked what you're talking about, that your creator or the priests are the ones who see the signs. I like that. Yeah.
So we were translating a word that our people use when it comes to abnormal and spiritual abilities. The word is matakite, which means mata, the whole face, and kite, which means the direction you're facing. So matakite is talking about the senses, and how it's talking about all the senses, not only the physical, the spiritual senses as well. So those people that have the gift, the innate ability of Jororiki, of matakite, and then what we do, my job is to train people's innate abilities, and especially so that they could be accurate and efficient to do what eels work. When we say the word God, a lot of people only have one interpretation of God, and a lot of times it's not a very favourable one, because we've been programmed, society, to see God as normally a white male and all these stereotypes. To the Maori, God is both a male and a female. See, one of our genealogies, which comes to our creational belief, was Eo ka puta te korekore, which means Eo gave birth to the first creation, which was absolutely nothing apart from what Eo was. Imagine now, who ever heard of a man giving birth?
Mm-hmm.
It was a female. So the creator to Maori is actually female. It's a female person, because she's the one that nourishes and nurtures. Yet the male part of which we say is evil or kino is male, because he's a protector, he's a destroyer. So God is both nurturer and creator, and God is both destroyer. So in this place called Te Kore, our people say that God rested. So what God did was God put the destructive male part to sleep and allowed the creative part to be awake, so that God could create, because they could not exist together.
Yeah, you need the dark and the light, the masculine and the feminine. You need both sides of it.
But even see, a lot of and as I teach our cultural ways, a lot of the other ideals of religion, Māori is very different, because we don't work on behaviour. Everyone says if you behave this, you get rewarded that. We reach on maturity. So a lot of times people are just stuck on their child, their child. They haven't come to a place where they grow as an adult. And this is where we have the problems with people. Is a lot of people are just childish. That's what they are. Our culture was based on, and I know with a lot of the Native Canadians, the Native Americans, they have the same system as we are, as a respect for our elders. We respect maturity, because in maturity, it's all about growth. Māori is we accept people on the stage of their growth. If they reflect childish ways, we treat them as children. If they reflect adult, and I was saying to a couple of our wahine women, I said, the problem with you is you meet a man and you baby them. Yeah, you mother them and you baby them, and you think to yourself, for goodness sakes, why hasn't he grown up?
Yeah. Well, and we have that in our culture right now. A lot of these men and even women that are still, fighting to keep their youth. And I work with my clients a lot about their childishness.
Yeah.
Their childish reactions, right? And they especially right now, this whole pandemic thing. Right. Yeah. I have clients who are like, I hate it. I can't stand it. I can't talk to my friends. And I'm like, do you know how old you are right now? Right. Yeah. What, 5 or 6? But it's really like triggering them, going back into their childish reactions of that age. And usually it's about like being, ignored or abandoned or kind of isolated from their parents. Right. And it's triggering a lot of fear and stuff. So when they kind of understand it in that way, it's okay for me to call them childish. But, like some of my clients, I'm just like, these are really, it's like you're acting like a big baby because you can't have your way. But then, we do. There's a lot of women. I'm like, you have to be with you have to find a partner who's not a prince anymore. You want to find a partner who's a king. Right? Coming out of that childish place and understanding maturity and understanding their emotions and, working with more from a divinity place, I guess, right? That maturity. But so many of us are struggling. I even was struggling with some of my childish imprints in the isolation that we were going through. I was like, I am being a big baby right now. And so I really am able to look at that behavior and go, yeah, like, can I let that childishness go? Can I find the way to kind of unlock that behavior and be more mature about the situation? Because I felt like, like this isn't helping me. Right. But I mentioned to people that.
Yeah, it's all elemental. Through the pandemic, I was sharing with our group. Life is elemental. When disaster hits you, it'll hit you. It's how we react when disaster happens. And all that is this is our journey. Our journey in this life, or the many lives that we have had, is so that we can have spiritual growth and that we can mature. And that's what it all is. I had a revelation when I was watching, which I was blessed with when I was watching you with Mirangi. And I had a vision that I bought a house. And in this house, as you buy a home, you go in there and not everything's perfect, There's and I saw a window that needed fixing. I just saw wallpaper that needed renovating. But yet the house was my own, and I was happy because I owned this house. Then the Creator said to me, would you give up on the house because it's got a broken window? Will you give it up because the wallpaper needs renovation? And I said, no, I would not. I said, what are you talking about? Why are you trying to tell me? And God said, that house is you. With the right time and the right resources, you'll always get it back.
Yeah.
So these places in our lives that we're unhappy with, eventually given enough resources and enough time, then we will mature and they will get fixed to a point like with any house we might want to upgrade. And we're on the upgrading stage. We might build a new room or we might build a new store. For us, I have a famous saying that everyone talks. Why finish something before you start it? How we say, I'm not going to do that because of this would happen. Why would we do that for? Start it first and see where it finishes. Yeah. And everything we do. Which is important because everybody does that. Oh, I don't want to do that because last time I did it, bang, you finished something that you haven't even started to begin with. And it's not good. The other thing that inspired me on the corridor that I was listening to you is everyone was talking about negative feelings, how we can manage negative energy. And I thought to myself, it is very simple to manage negative energy because negative energy is created by something negative. Our whole, as a tohunga, and a Maori, our whole view is to be ma, which is to be clean. To be tika and tono is to be honest. But with us, we accept filth. It's not realistic of us to think that we're going to be 100% clean, pure all the time. That's rubbish. Because to be impure is natural. Our body excretes oils and that, and we have to wash it. It's a natural thing. What is unnatural about the process is when we stay dirty. That's unnatural. When something filthy happens to us, it's the time then we start cleaning. We can do cleaning. This morning I do my ritual, which I create. I do a little while I'm having a shower, and I'm using the elements of water to cleanse myself. And while I'm humming away, so in the start of the morning, I am mentally and spiritually clean, and I feel fresh, like a new. So that it'll start in a good part of the day. Another thing people have to stop doing that. For goodness sakes, darling, stop assassinating yourself.
Assassinating.
Yeah. Stop saying things that I can't do this. Why on earth do you do it? I mean, I teach our group that we're magnificent. That's what we are. We're born magnificent. I look in the mirror and I say, wow, I'm magnificent. And people, I ask them, you know why I do that? And they said, why? Well, number one, no one's going to tell me. And number two, at least the person saying it to themselves is me. I can trust myself. And even thinking like that, I feel great about who I am as a person. Because everybody are looking for new gimmicks and new tricks to help them. I call that as distraction. They're using easy distractions when they should to make them feel good. But little do they realise is there really isn't anything wrong with us. We have to learn to approve of ourselves. When was the last time you pat yourself in the back and say, hey, gee, that was well done? Or the last time, see, I think happy tohunga you get a happy work. So sometimes I use feathers. I had voodoo feathers, and I'm doing my work, doing all these chanting, all of that. And then I said to one of our tohunga, I said, "Do you know what happens when I use the feathers?" And then one said, "Well, you're singing the resonance," and she gives me all this new agey stuff, and I'm smiling. And I said, "You know what it does?" And she said, "What? Absolutely nothing. All it does, it makes me happy." So if I'm a happy tohunga, of course the client's going to be great. So doing things, you want to change your universe, change yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The more you change, everything around you will change.
Yeah.
Your worldview is important. About stop assassinating yourself, because you're actually wonderful and magnificent. When misfortune hits you, it's elemental, very important, and accept that. It's not the problem of the misfortune. It's how one thing good about negative learnings we have is they make us grow up even quicker. They make us.
Yeah.
It is wonderful feeling when we have something hideous happen, and then we are successful getting out of it.
We are,
instead of using that as a goal, say no, I'm going to beat this. I'm going to go through it. You like a storm, instead of using that and then complimenting ourselves and being happy, about ourselves. See, the whole with Maori, we work on the inner person. We've had too many invaded noises telling us how we should work on ourselves, and our focus has always been outward when it should be inside of ourselves.
Yeah.
That we should be working and improving and on who we are as people, not for everybody else, for the sheer mercy because of ourselves.
Yeah.
Because when we're happy,
I was just going to say the conflict thing, and we're getting some comments, but the facing of our conflict is that most of us are afraid of our conflict. Most of us are terrified of conflict. I find a lot of my clients are, and conflict is the same thing as life. Conflict is growth. Conflict, some of it is really like terrible and difficult and impossible to move through, but we've lived through 100% of it so far. So anything coming forward, any conflict we have to meet, we're going to live through it, hopefully. we have the experience. So if we shift into that place of like you said, accepting the conflict and being excited and kind of being like, wow, how much is this going to shift me? How much is this going to expand me and give me some growth, right? And I really try to really put that forward to people. Like, when you turn away from conflict and you say, I can't do it, I don't want to, and it's too hard, and if I try to do this, I'm going to fail. If you turn away from that, you're turning away from life. You're turning away from growth. And it doesn't matter what the conflict looks like. It could be a really little one, and it could be massively life-changing for us, but usually the bigger the conflict, the bigger the opportunity, right, for growth and expansion. That's kind of what I hear you're talking about, the same kind of approach, right?
Yeah, Afi Maira, it's called Afi. Everyone to embrace embrace. See, we don't have a lot of cultures have got this blood thing. You've got so much blood that equates that you're their culture. We do our identity by genealogy, which is very important. Our people, it's our genealogy that makes us who we are. So if people have got genealogy to our people, then it's because and we embrace everything. We don't separate ourselves and say that my ancestor was non-Maori. We don't do that. Because one of the sayings with a lot of outside philosophy is blood is thicker than water. But that isn't a Maori concept. Maoris, we're not into blood, we're into bones. The bones of my bones are your bones. Because the bones are the foundation of the body. Without any bones, the body cannot stand. everybody can share blood, but they can't share their bones. And sometimes the bones are not part of the culture. Or see, Māori are intertribal, not interracial. Racialness isn't a concept that comes from our people. It comes from another people, and we're tribal. So when we had all these tribes come from Ngāti Island, England, all over the world, we just accepted them as a tribe, and we saw them as a tribe. We saw that they had. See, when you come to Aotearoa, you're gonna. We're like the United Nations. Every single tribe has got their own rules and regulations, and we have learned to cohabitate peacefully amongst each other and respect while you're in Rome. You do what the Romans do, and we're quite good about that sort of thing. To embrace who we are as a people instead of separating and cutting ourselves apart. And that's another thing that's been ingrained in this the society. Why on earth do we cut ourselves into pieces?
Yeah.
Why do we do that? Even when we do, when one person said to Matua Billy, if I do something wrong, what would you do? I said, I am morally committed to tell you where you're doing wrong. Then what happens after that? Then I'm going to grab some popcorn and watch a train crash, because I like it, watching the train crash. And when you come back, I'm going to tell you I told you so. Because what else can you do with people? A person has to decide in their heart what they have to do. And as much as I don't like it, I have to accept that, because I got no option. But in accepting that, the most important thing that we as people need is our own freedom. We need our freedom to do right and wrong and to learn from that. We can't always mother them. We can't always restrict people. There are journeys in life that will just have to happen. And we have to have the grace and to always be there when it counts, instead of destroying something before it happens. Being honest and saying, I don't like that, what's happening, but I'm really sure that you will do what you have to do. I am always there. It's all we can do in a difficult situation. Always
show up and do our best.
Do our best, and even though we can have an honest opinion, always say, I will be there. When you need me, I will be there, because I love you. That's why. I mightn't agree what you're doing, but okay, it's okay. Mm-hmm. It is just something, and it's pride is amongst ourselves is the most devastating thing we can have. It builds wars. It makes us in a place where we really don't want to be, with ourselves. And it's really good, even as proud as we can be, that someone can open a hand. That and another thing is, I teach a no fuss, no bother thing. When things like happen, just a no fuss attitude. Getting them on a path to have a quick healing. Gee, some of the clients, in the clinics I run, got a few in the country, I've met everybody. I've met some of the strangest people you've ever seen, from all different cultures, not only Maoris. I had this strange event where this woman, I think she was Argentinian. Eh? It was strange. I looked at her and I said to her, goodness sakes, how come your head is flat? No. She said, what I mean, I think one of your ancestors got a big funny shaped head like that, with this flat. And because I couldn't see it, but you got a flat head. And she said, oh, that's part of my people. We, their heads are flat or something like that. I said, how strange. The woman was strange. She was getting spoken by aliens and all of that sort of thing. I know aliens exist, and was a strange thing about it. And she was mentally, it was destroying her mentally. It was really, really interesting.
Mentally, yeah.
Yeah, because and it's.
I see the, is it like her sensory systems are really expanded? Is that when some people are struggling? Do you see that?
No. So what happens is, to explain it, is she was trying to see, to us, from creation was created by spirit. The physical body is still spirit. It's only the density. We're made up the same material. So the lower down the genealogy gets, the more dense the spirit gets. So the material that makes the physical body is still spirit. It's still the same thing. Spirit, consciousness, and that's how we think. And with her, she was trying to. There are different kinds of thinking. You've got physical thinking, which is based on the mathematical law we call Tuhoua and Aotearoa, and you've got consciousness, which is based on mahara. So a lot of your work is on mahara, is on consciousness, and then you've got spirituality. They are two different ways of thinking. You can't mathematically put something on something that can't be worked with mathematics. You just can't do that. It doesn't work that way. So she's trying to physicalize something that should be of a spiritual approach. Hence, instead of accepting that is just something, it is what it is. It's something that she has to think differently about.
Yeah, the different types of language almost.
Yeah, you see what I'm getting at? And a lot of times our brain, because our formulated way of thinking starts to clash, and a lot of mental illness is caused by this. There's a kickback, according to Maori, that our brain goes in a state of moimoia, sleep. So when God created dreams, because the subconscious was honest, God didn't want us to, through our intellectual mind, God didn't want us to make our intellectual mind interfere to the workings of our subconscious, like how the heart breathes and all of that. So he created dreams, a state of dreaming called moimoia. In the state of dreaming that God created, when we said something to protect our subconscious mind, the mind would go on a kickback. Oh, it's a dream. It's not actually real. Okay?
Yeah.
So our body could cope. So we don't, mentally interact with the way our body works. Because if we put a suggestion in our body, it'll break down and all that sort of thing. So what happens with this woman? I identified with her that she was having some. She was trying to explain the spiritual thing on her via a mathematical interpretation. Yeah, this is quite high scientific, sophisticated way of thinking. That's the only way we can. It's easier when you do it in Maori, then everyone gets it. But breaking it in English gets, sort of thing. It was lovely because I said to her to stop doing that. I just stop working out your world as a formula, because it's not a formula. There is formula in our world, but it's not a formula. There's some things that work even far above ourselves. There's different kinds of thinking in that what you're doing. And then what we did is what Mihi would do. We took it out. We massaged everything out. We just laid our hands and let the power of God run through our hands, and we said, wait a minute, let's take it from you. Release it first, please. And then she released it up, and she was lovely. Even her husband. Then we threw the husband on the table, and he was quite good about that. But isn't it interesting? Because it's strange that you do consciousness. Because I teach how the mind works, according to see, our people believe that we're all elemental. It's an elemental thing. So what happens when you die? What you do is, because you have the earth part that keeps us to this existence, it weakens, and the spiritual element of us starts to get stronger. So we want to leave our bodies. Everyone does it. So one part decays, the other part strengthens. It's been doing that for centuries. And suicide's a great example, sadly, for this. How when people have disconnection to the things of earth, there's nothing that anchors them into this existence. The interesting part of it I found when counselling with people that are suicide, is they suffer from the good old famous sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
They haven't had sleep for, you're nodding your head, so you've had a few places. The most important thing, if you're in this situation with a friend or that, give them some sleep. Start talking to them, they need more sleep. The world looks better once you have a good sleep. People, we get a lot of naturalists amongst us that say that they don't believe they should medicate people. In times of seriousness, I agree with medication. Because they haven't got the mental fortitude to actually beat this. What they need is the body to have some sleep. Goodness sakes, everything is dropping out of my ear. That'll be right. And,
well, we have some comments. Did you see our comments on? We've got Jocelyn. Do you know Jocelyn? No.
No.
Oh, okay. She's just saying things like that inner beauty is radiated, positive attitude towards a negative situation is not really being naive, but isn't it leadership? Yeah. So I think we're talking about the childishness of people and the maturity level. And so childlike, and I just want to clarify that for people, is that being childlike is holding that place of openness and exploration and awe and kind of excitedness of like, oh wow, this is happening, right? A childishness is that childishness is a way of being in, like, that we can't get what we want, and we're gonna have a bit of a fight. We just can't accept things the way they are. It's not fair, and I don't want it to be like this. And that the big emotional stuckness is more of what I see as childishness. And childlikeness is where we're all trying to get back to being a child, in that place of just being excited each moment, and just seeing things like they're new again, and being in that place of love, and without the filters of what we get placed on us as we grow, right? Because as we grow, we learn to see this situation as a terrible thing, or this person, or we learn these beliefs that the world isn't as safe or healthy or kind as we did when we were children. We're all trying to get back to that place of childlike being. I just had some people commenting on what are the characteristics of you define as childlike. Yeah, childlike is what we want to be. Childish is the immaturity, right? So we can be mature and childlike.
See, I think of it, we can have both, to be honest. Now, here's the thought for everybody. It's a wonderful trick to apply to your living. What did you think? Everybody has to be so extreme. You have to be yes or no. We have programmed our thinking to go, yes. Why don't we have both? So before I make a decision, I start to interpret if I can have both things. My problem with childless is I think you can have both as an adult. You can have innocence and thing because you've matured now, and you can enjoy, because adults can enjoy themselves. Adults can live a great fling and a great thing. That's part of our maturity, which is important. I mean, it's nature. It's natural. We come from a seed and we turn into a mighty tree, and each of those states is part of us. Sort of thing. Instead of trying to return to something that we were, we've always been that something. That's something that's always in us. What we have, and when I talked about it before, we have to clean ourselves from all the things that stop us. We, even as a mature adult, so we have to clean the things that burden us, so that we can't maintain our innocence. We can't maintain the things that make our because we got these filthy things that saying that needs cleansed from. We can be adult. We can be fine, beautiful, mature, solid, happy, playful, joyous adults. There's a lot of things adults do that we enjoy that's quite playful. I mean, I'm sure we would want the children to enjoy if I want to make a point, because that's part of being what an adult is. And that's what I share to people all the time. Hey, let's enjoy growing up. Let's start enjoying it.
Enjoy being grown up. Yeah.
Yeah. Enjoy being who we are solid. This is like I said to my silly old cousin. I said to him, you go around with babies, then you start mothering them when you really want an adult. Why don't you stop everything and look for an adult? When you find an adult, you'll be happy because really that's what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking for someone mature, someone that protects you as a woman, someone that helps, and you're not an adult, not someone that you have to pick up their clothes, while they're having a mess and all that. Because babies are cute. When you look at babies,
I got my 2 little boys at home right now. I don't know if you can hear them sometimes.
Yeah.
They're adorable and they're wonderful. But my goal as a mother of 2 boys is to try to get them as skilled as I can about their self-sufficiency and about understanding that level of maturity. And but I want them to enjoy their childhood and have fun. But also be good, responsible men, and
it's for all of us. When negative times come and hit us, they are part of our spiritual growth, and that's all they are. They're things that tell us a whole lot about ourselves, how we react. I remember when my mother passed away, it broke my heart, but someone had to be strong. I couldn't be a child. I had to grow up, and someone had to organise the funeral, to organise the marae, to get the priest in, and all those sort of things for that moment. There was always a time where I could go and cry over my loss, but people needed strength. I needed to know that I had strength. We've got 2 thoughts as a people. We've got one you might have heard as mana, and we've got one called ihi. Ihi is having the power of your mind to change the physical universe. Mana is something that's divine in us, pulling the power of divinity from us to make us, and we all have the access to mana, and it is a power that is part of the whole entire universe. It is a power that reflects, because after all, we are children of God. God is in us, we are in God. And we have access to that power that we dig deep. And we call that mana. So when you're in a hard time and you don't feel strength, do a prayer and reach down deep to the mana, that power that makes you strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard of mana.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you
it's our energy. It's like a flow of energy, right? Like chi that's a Chinese concept of it. In with Suitin they call it zil.
Yeah, chi is more of a mental construct than what it is a spiritual one. Chi is the energy that works with formula. Mana is, so you got these are 2 different concepts. Everything is a mirror. For a physical construct, it's called ihi, which is like chi and all that. For a spiritual construct, it's called mana. 2 different kinds of things, polar opposites. When you actually your son, when you actually think of it, it's that power. Our belief is, according to our creational belief, that the first creation was a woman, and all the gods got together and they gave a piece of themselves. The gods are elements, and God, Eel, passed through God's breath, a seed of God for us. So we were created inheritors of the elements and inheritors of God. We're the biggest God in the whole entire universe. We can get all the elements and we can create cars and plastic and all of that. That is a reflection on who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can have what we need to do, and this is what I train for you, is find in yourself the connection you have with something. If you want to talk to a tree, find in yourself your connection because it's part of your heritage.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
The connecting to the tree, yeah. I even see Matt. So when you were talking to me earlier before we came on live, we were talking more about the spiritual space that you can work in, right? And that's like when I see mana and I see chi, it looks different, but it seems similar in the concept, I guess, that it's, you know, it's we work with it for healing and wellness, right? But there's and even in the cultural when I work with the culture of Wet'suwet'en, they're a band in northern BC. They have a concept called silt, and that's the spirit too, right? And then in Haida they have what I've heard. I always ask, like, how do you say it? What do you call that energy? And they're in Haida, what I've understood is they say Gauda, which is like our grandmother's light. So yeah, there's different. I love the language, and I love how they describe their spirituality and the energies and light, and I try to encourage the language, like the original. Like, you speak a lot of Maori, and what I see is that when our cultures are in BC, when we can get our cultures in BC to speak the language more and return to a lot of those lost languages, it empowers the ancestral knowledge. So I'm always asking them, what is your word for this when I'm working with them in community? And I want you to say, I am strong and empowered, but I want you to say that in Haida. So you see the difference of how it feels in your body. Do you guys ever, you speak so much Maori, you must know this, that the ancestors and our bones and our whole body respond to our native languages a lot differently than these other, than a language that isn't in our bones.
See, in our people, we got people that are experts in language. Tohunga. Tohunga is a priest and an expert. They're called Wii'Gibaaw. They're the people that are experts on the language itself. And our like in our order and what we're doing, I remember saying to one person, "Did you know eel speaks English? That God can speak. Eel, which is God, speaks English. Yeah. That's how intelligent God is. Language helps us interpret things that we need. But when spirituality transcends all communication. Spirituality is a communication of ourselves. I'd rather us connect to our spirituality than us learn any language. Because in spirituality, ourself is our teacher. And there's something we have to understand. We cannot limit spirituality to anything, to what it truly is. Yeah.
Yeah, I see the support of it. I see how the language supports the ancestral information. I think I just see a very big difference when someone says a phrase, just like a affirmation or a mantra or something. They say a phrase in English and then they say it in their ancestral language. I feel the difference of it, and most of the people I ask about, they notice that difference too. But part of it, why I support it, is because there's we're losing so many of our languages in BC. We are losing a lot of our indigenous. Some of the communities I work in don't have any native speakers. Yeah,
we're getting that here. My mother's language is slowly dying. I think I'm one of the very few people that understand it fluently. And As in the beginning, God gave all our cultures something, and the knowledge or the mataranga was kept in language itself. I suppose how I see of things, we see things more in a spiritual. So I teach three ways of thinking: spiritual down, physical up, and a combination of both. So when we do our work, something I wanted to talk to you about, because you do energy healing. There's two types of energy healing. There's healing that is pure physical, like energy of the universe, and there's a spiritual healing, both ihi and mana. I deal with a lot of people doing clinic that have been using physical energy, which we call Aotearoa, and it's actually made them sick, and they've had a lot of cancer. The problem with that is, and they get things like adrenal fatigue and all of that, is because that when they do their healing, they're applying a lot of their personal life force into the healing as well. And so when they get tired, they're actually draining from their life. That life draining will enter a sickness and cause a consequence. Instead of using the power of mana, having connecting to the creator. I didn't care what sort of creator, it could be 4 eyes, whatever you have the power of the creator run through your whole body and let that power go and do the healing. Because it's order, it's life. So you're healing not with to us Maori energy, a spirit, plus energy, physical energy equals Maori order, is life. When we do our energy healing, where the best part is we're putting life back into it. Because it is the life that comes from the energy itself that does the healing. But the life cannot be connected to your life. So if you start to get tired when you're doing that and you're thinking that you're really buggered, you're healing the wrong way.
Yeah.
What
I get people that say that, don't you get tired? Because I'll do, I would do my clinics. I would do, when Tom and I tour, 6 days a week, sometimes, 10 plus hours a day, we're with people. And I said, there's two ways of working with healing. And that's, you're describing that, what I've understood. Yeah, is that the one way you're going to drain yourself and it's going to be difficult and you'll get tired. And the other way, is connecting to that life force and using that as you're just the conduit of that movement of support, right? Yeah, I get a lot of questions about that. How can you work so much and with some of the most the most hardest hit? Like have you heard of we have like a lot of murdered and missing Indigenous women in Canada. Yeah, and it's a pandemic. It's an epidemic here. We have it. Especially in the areas where I work, primarily across Highway 16. They call it the Highway of Tears because there's a lot of truckers. There's a lot of like a lot of forests, a lot of endless wild places, and so women often go missing, and young women, teens, and it's a really big thing up here. So I work heavily there, and there's a lot of murder. There's a lot of missing women. There's a lot of families with, like, some of the families I work with have 3 murdered, missing women, sisters gone in their family. And it's draining just because of the nature of what I'm doing, but I know the reserve of where I'm working from is endless, and we can all connect to that rather than trying to use our life force. Right. So that's what I teach people too, is to connect with that. I guess you call it the mana.
The mana.
Yeah.
The lifeblood of God. It's that is really sad that your journey would end up like that. It is a sad thing for people. And to see that it's
it
an
is.
epidemic, I'll keep that in our prayers while we pray to Il, that Il will bless the community, that there would be, it's sad. It's absolutely sad.
Yeah,
That a
it's big.
culture. Gee.
Yeah, we've lost a lot, and there's entries about it. If you look up murdered and missing women, murdered and missing Indigenous women, or BC's Highway of Tears, that's our Highway 16. And women, there's no real transportation, so a lot of younger women are hitchhiking, and then they disappear. Yeah. So part of my work in the last 6 years, working within those communities, is empowering women, is helping them kind of return to their sacredness, helping them find their voice, and just seeing these women transform from what you were talking about, is how they kind of assassinate themselves into their light, into their power, into knowing that they are they are the saviors of their people and the light of their people. These women, they are the creator. They're not separate from that. But because of residential school and the colonization impacts, it's been pretty widespread across BC, but especially across the northern BC region. We struggle a lot with addiction and even human trafficking in our communities. So that's the front line there is there's a lot of that is happening up there. But I see it changing definitely too now, because we're not getting the counselors, we're not getting the therapists, and we're not getting the healers coming into the communities because of the pandemic in the last couple of months, right? So where we would usually have these resources coming in, it's not coming in. So I really appreciate that you're coming live to talk about your concepts and the Maori way of seeing the healing. And so in your clinics, can people access that? Can they contact you or find a way to access some of this work you're doing? Can they see you?
Yeah, would say, like, I run the clinic from home. I'm going to open up. We're on lockdown too. We've only got one pandemic case. One
in New Zealand. Yeah.
There's only one. I think they'll be gone. Very soon we'll have zero people that are. So we're getting some of the clients infected. So we getting the clients. I tend to get the difficult one. I mean, I'm the last leads type person, but I've got one advertisement which is very discreet on Facebook, which we don't do very much about. And a lot of my clients are word by mouth. So everybody that comes through the door, which we do, one person wanted me to, they said we should do a show and all of that. And I said, how goodness sake, I'll never have any peace. You'll have everybody knocking at the door. And I'm a person that's very committed to the clients I work with, because I want to make sure that I give them the correct amount of. By the way, while we're at it, I've got someone in Aotearoa that does a lot of work like that. That talks with wahine, that helps them with their mana, especially domestic violence and all of that.
Yes.
And she's actually mihirangi, because we got an. I'm like. Yeah, Mihirangi. She's Mihirangi's leader. They've known each other for years. Winnie, and she's fascinating. Winnie's quite fascinating in what she does. So I thought that you'd like, and you fellas will have something that you could compare and be helpful on the mahi that you do. It affects you personally. One incident that Winnie had was very traumatic. And she got really upset and she rang me up and we had a good talk about it, because the whole situation itself was traumatic. And I thought to myself, if we get this trauma ourselves, imagine how much destruction the person that is involved in it. You know, just imagine they're in a really dark place that they really need to come out, and they're too frightened to come out. How would we do that? You know, sort of thing. There is more to talking. The current way of doing things is talking. There's with us, we do what we call a prayer or inui, which is a direct contact with God. And then we use the power of God to help them, to move them from, and to help. I've got a formula that I teach. Person plus environment, no. Upbringing plus environment equals person.
Upbringing plus environment,
equals person.
Equals person. Yes.
Yeah.
Upbringing plus environment equals person. Yeah. We have a doctor here who says that all of our addiction and pathology are rooted in childhood and ancestry, intergenerational trauma and childhood trauma. All of that. So that reminds me of Dr. Gabor Mate, who is a good doctor here.
And some people have got bigger appetites than others. You know, so there's no rule for one. It's across the board, and these people with great appetites seem to be. They either can use their great appetite for something wonderful, and they'll be higher achievers, or else they can use that so really addictive behaviour because they've got a big appetite, and it's actually a sign of genius in a lot of ways, because it's a part of who they are and part of their genealogy, but it's focused the wrong way. So we have to be clear. The problem we have with a lot of people is the language that we convey with people because of their upbringing and the way they're taught, because we only can center on how we live our life. The people can come to a place where they don't understand. That's why example is very important. Because how can you teach someone that hasn't got in their head what it looks like? What does that thing look like? What does a loving home look like? I've never had a loving home. No,
that's not what they're. That's not their normal. Their normal is chaos, and they don't know what it looks like to have that peace. Yeah, that's it is. It's so right. You're so right. I say you are loved, but your love doesn't feel like a healthy love. It feels like a painful love. It's still love. Both places are still love. Your husband, your ex-husband who abused you, he treated you the same way your parents did. It's the exact same love. And you stayed with him because it was familiar, right?
Yeah. So,
until that didn't work anymore. And then they wanted the better love. But they need to understand what that picture looks like.
Because I came to teach in formulas. This isn't a very, I'll lighten it, but it's got a great point. If you think like dung, you're going to feel like dung. And flies like dung.
Flies like dung, yeah. If you think like dung.
That's why you're going to feel like dung and flies like dung. No surprise, if you still got the dung in you, you're going to attract the flies of misfortune. And you will always go with that person because flies like dung. That would a thing. It's to clean yourself. Yeah. So people say, well, I've gone to that abusive behaviour. It's because you still got that inside you. You still carry it with you. When you start changing what's inside, the universe changes. And then the flies change. They turn into bees or butterflies.
They won't like you anymore.
No.
The flies don't like you anymore. Yeah. And you get the butterflies and these different ones that come to you for the sweetness because you've changed the dung.
Yeah. I see our connection is
cleaned out. Okay. Yeah, we only get a certain amount of time on here, and then it starts to kick us off because we've been talking for about an hour.
Gee, for goodness sake.
This doesn't feel like that long, does it?
No. It must be
We'll
a
have to
time
do
to
it.
go.
We'll have to do it again.
Yeah, we will. We will get to it together. And like I said, I suggest Winnie. I'll send you her details. You're going to adore her. It'll be something that, and it'll help the community at least. You'll have people that will help you with your personal life. It's what you need, and to help our lovely listeners. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. You're absolutely awesome.
Thanks everybody. Jocelyn, Hera, Barry. We've got a whole group of people here. Thank you for checking in. We've had some people talk about Jocelyn was talking about inner beauty and how we always have big room for improvement. Thanks for checking in. We had Kimber check in, but Haida Gwaii, we have some people from Haida Gwaii. We have people from parts of the U.S. Ricky was from your community, right? This guy?
Yeah.
Ricky Tumoe. Yeah. But thank you guys. Thanks, Jocelyn, for your information. You've had some great comments about why we need to look into the lens of culture. We have time to study the reason why we never stop learning. Yeah, we do. We never stop learning. Thank you for your wisdom, Jocelyn. It's great to see you. I don't know where you're from, but welcome to our little live stream. And thank you for checking in. But it's been an hour, so I guess we should try to do this again sometime.
I suppose so. Yeah, we will. Lovely.
Jocelyn said she's from the Philippines.
Oh, hello, Jocelyn.
Filipino.
I'd love to visit the Philippines. I think they're lovely.
Yeah, I have some married family that are from Filipinos, so I like my Filipino food. I haven't been to the Filipinos, but I'm supposed to go.
In New Zealand, the nurses in New Zealand are Filipino. They're wonderful people. Sunny disposition.
So wonderful.
Beautiful, catered, lovely. So I got a great outlook on Filipino people.
Yeah, we have quite a good community here.
Yep, I think we're getting cut off.
You,
bless you. Better go.
Blesses and
bless you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.